Horse race?
Camel race.
Oh, camel race, that's the
There's
one.
more
Yeah,
discussion on what
race,
the camel
right.
race was.
So,
As long as they have pooper scoopers.
yeah. And this is what we were gonna send back to them, it's gonna cost, seeing how they're having alcohol, it's gonna be $200 for security, $100 for cleanup, $160 damage deposit, for a total of $460, but they would get the $160 back if they clean up their own stuff, so it would basically amount to about $300 at the end, total at the end.
Where's the camels gonna come from?
Middle East. As long as they have the shots.
So anybody got
So-
that?
Didn't we have an increase in security charge? Or was it just when we had to have the other company come in for a little while? That was more expensive,
Yeah,
the other company?
yeah, we only
We're
had
back
them
with
in
the
for, we
original?
only had them in for
Okay.
one wedding.
I just wanted to make sure that I
Right.
was clear on that.
Well, for, I would make the motion to let the Optimist Club use our hall.
For the price that we're giving here, the
$460
$460.
contingent on them cleaning up.
Right,
So
they
a net
get-
rental cost is $300, as long
Right.
as they clean up their mess
Right.
after the camels.
Inside or outside?
Do I hear support? I'll support it.
Campbell,
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Class. Yes. Peppermint.
Yes. All right, CO2 rental for the hall. It seems as though our CO2 bills for the rental of the cylinders for the carbon dioxide has increased dramatically. Last year, or 2 years ago, they were at $60 a month. Then it went up to $89.70 a month. Now it's up to $103 a month. It wouldn't be bad
Well,
if we,
the new bill just went to $115.40.
okay, today's new bill went to $115.40, and it wouldn't be bad if we were renting out the hall. But we have very few rentals there. And Trustee Campbell has a couple different ideas.
Well, the one way is, someone's going to have an event, and they're getting a keg of beer, they put down a $50 deposit over at whatever facility, that's the going rate, and they get a pump, and they do it like we did in the old days.
Yeah.
Because, you know what, when we start looking at this, that's more than $1,200 a year for a tank to sit there, and in January, zero, February, zero. So what it'll do, we have 2 weddings on the book. It means we as taxpayers are gonna pay $600 so that they can have a golden beer. Because that's what we will have paid for the CO2 canister in that building. And I think if every one of us did a hand check right now, it would be, tell them to go get the pump for $50, and then when they take it back, they get their $50 back, and it doesn't cost them an extra nickel. And then I talked to the people at Double S, and they said, well, actually, we have Coke on tap, and Coke gives us our CO2 for free. Interesting. But, you know, that's how they've gotten away without not having to. They said the third way is you buy your tank, and then you just go and get it refilled when you need to get it refilled. I'm surprised that we've got a tank that's so tall, when I look at other places and they've got the small tanks like I used to have. And I don't know why we would need the great big tank, but I would think, my idea is we don't need air gas at this time because we're not renting the hall out all the time. And if someone is going to have a wedding, we inform them that you need to provide yourself with the tap unit, and if wherever you're getting your liquor, they don't have it, Double S for a $50 deposit will give you one. It will be clean and functional. I think that just makes more sense. I mean,
Why not buy it and just have it?
Well, they told me I could go get one for $50 from them and keep it here.
I get.
That's
I
what they
get
told
that.
me. But I'm just saying, if you go to pick your booze up somewhere, just pick one up with your booze like everybody else does.
Which would be if you get it from them and take it back to them, you don't have to worry about cleaning it afterwards either. Where if we kept it here, we'd have to probably tear it apart and clean it, whatever we gotta do to it, I don't know.
You know, and you have Happy Tappy that comes in and maintains our taps, so when I'm saying we save $1,200 right off the top, it's actually more than that, because now it's an extra $15, so you're actually at about $1,400. I mean, granted, that's not the end of the world, but $1,400 is 6 toilets.
It's a pickleball court.
Well, you know what?
Say, that's some paint.
You know what?
Pickleball court.
It's half the cost of that pickleball court. I mean, so, I would make the motion that we tell Airgas they can take their tank back. And at this time, due to the amount of rentals we have, you know, next year we have 8 rentals on the book. Molly brought that to my attention. So, I mean, it would be a different story next year maybe. If we fill the book up for next year, we put it back in. But until then, I think we need to retire that and put a note on all contracts that say, and we have 2 that are gonna use the hall. And, you know, as far as that goes, if someone has to make a phone call and nobody wants to, I'll make the phone call and just say, you know, when you get your keg of beer, make sure that you get a tap. And if you can't, then for $50, I'll go rent the tap. I don't have a problem with that, because when we're talking about saving $114, I'll put $50 out for a night. I don't have a problem with that. It's worth it.
So I guess the question would be specificity of the motion. At what point, you're right? Do we yank it? Do we just say tomorrow morning?
Effective
Call and
immediately.
say go? Because we had that bill in front of us that just arrived today for the 115.
Well, we got a brand new tank that's not been used at all.
Does the township have a lease with Airgas? Has someone signed a lease? Are you guaranteeing them 12 months?
I don't
Are
remember
you gonna
anybody.
send something back that you're gonna have to pay for anyway?
That's,
That would be something you need to check on.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's a lease.
authorizing anything
Yeah.
like that.
No.
But this may have been quite some time ago. So,
well, I wouldn't think that it would be a
Well-
multi-year for a cylinder, but maybe.
You can include in your
Like-
motion.
5 years?
5 years, some rentals.
5 years?
That's what mine are.
Really? Wow, that's a long time for sure.
I wish they were longer, because they can only raise them so much because of that.
They raise them all the time.
I know, but they're only in the percentage of the lease that you
Okay.
signed. So you might wanna just make a quick phone call, find
Yeah.
out how long it is, or where
Well,
you're
and
at.
this actually, this bill we have is for the rental period 3/1 to 3/31.
So we'd have to pay that one anyway.
And considering that it has
It was-
nearly doubled since
It has doubled.
May of 2021. It's nearly doubled, so that wouldn't seem like that would be, hopefully,
You'd hope.
within the terms, because that's not a very good contract that would have been
Yeah.
signed.
But Argon's tripled,
Yeah.
so if CO2 has doubled, it doesn't shock me, because I don't know what they're selling over there. But,
All right.
Well, if we're not in a contract, we'll make that contingency, because even if we are in a contract, for the amount of money we're paying, even if we had to pay $400 to get out of the stupid contract,
Still ahead
we would still be ahead money,
at this rate, yeah.
because it goes up every 4 months or 5 months.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what's the picture of that one?
Okay, so,
Yeah, clarify the motion, please. Were you making a motion? Were you
You
just-
could take oxygen
The motion would be
or something.
to cancel air gas if we are not in a contract.
obligated by contract.
If we are, it'll be,
Can ask for it.
Yeah,
I wanna see the
exactly, yeah.
contract, and you can send it to my fax so that we can actually know where we're at in this whole mix.
And you don't have any recollection of a contract?
I don't know.
Okay,
But I know since I got elected, it's doubled.
yeah, and I don't recall.
And then some.
Coming up from you, so.
And we don't even use it.
Are we good on that? You got it, you think?
Sure. Cancel our gas if we're not in a contract. If we are in a contract, how do we get out of it?
Perfect. Just the first part.
Yes.
Oh, dang. It
That
takes
was
the
good
fun
too,
away.
yeah. I will second that, I think.
Okay.
Your contract may date back to 2007.
What?
Yeah.
Your contract may date back to 2007.
Good news. I think we gotta change
So,
Unless it's a 20-year contract.
Yeah.
That'd be really, really
Are
poorly thought out.
I think we should.
we need to vote on this,
Maybe it's
whether it be
never
roll call or.
been
That's what I thought.
Just my job. Okay. Campbell,
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Class. Yes. Petremont.
Yes. Okay, I don't know if we can do this right now or not, but I would like to, would it be legal to add pickleball on the agenda? Or would we have to wait?
I think it would be probably advisable to review it.
I would take time to review it and
Okay.
put it as new business for next meeting.
Okay,
Or
Yeah.
it could
Or
also
to be
go
included in a special meeting like
that
Lori made.
special
Yeah.
meeting that we're talking about in
Yeah.
reference to. What were you
The
doing?
bids from the zoning administrator for the cleanup. Yeah, so if we were gonna do a special next week, as long as everybody's given a full packet, you know.
Put it on a piece of paper for next week.
I think that might be advisable, but then, you know, that's gonna be contingent upon whether or not we can get the actual cleanup bids from Fred during that time frame too, so.
You should have the flexibility
He's got those.
to ask
bids.
Mr.
Yeah.
Schmidt to provide the bids that he referenced in his report.
I would absolutely think so.
I would think, they exist. Just have to find them.
Yeah.
And there is no sheriff's report.
there's no sheriff's report under FYI, it'll probably come in today, or tomorrow rather, he usually comes in the day after the meeting. But, yeah, but there is no sheriff report, so, anybody have anything else under FYI?
We didn't get a sheriff report last month either.
Probably not, sometimes he gives them to us for 2 months at a time, right? Right,
So obviously there's some questions that need to be answered about the master plan process right now. It's been ongoing for a couple months. But I do have a question, I know you and I had discussed it at one point, Greg, about the FOIAs that had come in. There were a couple FOIAs that had come in that were responded to, and then when I became aware was when I was copied in for an appeal on the FOIAs. My understanding is that our FOIA policy requires those FOIA appeals to come before the board at the next regular board meeting. Remember we discussed it, I don't know if you
yeah, I
checked
remember we
on that.
discussed it.
Yeah, and it didn't, so I was a little bit concerned and looking for a little clarity on our FOIA policy, because that was my understanding of it, that it would come before us at the next meeting, and, you know, if we're out of compliance with our own policy, you know, so what, I guess, where are we at with that, because that should have been before us last month.
Well, to be honest with you, I never seen anything where it said that it didn't have to come to the board. I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm
Okay.
just saying I never found anything that it said that it did have to. So, I kinda looked back through things to see, and I couldn't find anything, you know, maybe it does, I don't know.
Sure. You want to maybe share the policy with the rest of the board, and give them an opportunity to see it.
Yeah, just so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Because that was my understanding, and I know that as we're talking about the master plan, that some of the items, the way that I understood it, that were included in those FOIAs and those FOIA appeals had to do with the current master plan that we're operating under, and how that had played out over time.
Yeah.
As far as, kind of some of the zoning changes that took place after
I'm just looking.
that master plan was approved and then when it was revised as time went on. So I'm just curious about where that's at.
Well, and that's a good segue into the master plan is a vision statement. And I think everybody needs to understand that it shows what is possible. Just because the master plan says something different, doesn't mean that your property has been rezoned. I know there's some individuals that believe that that means your property is rezoned, and that's not the case. It means that if your property is residential, and in the master plan it says it can be commercial, if you say, I'd like to convert this to, rezone this commercial, then the township really can't say no, because it falls within the master plan. Whereas I think there are some people that believe that the master plan is what rezones the property. So if it's the one FOIA that I'm thinking of, some of the items that were trying to be FOIA'd were not documents, they were thoughts. And some of the other things were referenced in the master plan, and I think the individual thought, hey, why is my property being changed without my knowledge? And it's not that it's being changed, it's that as part of the vision statement for the township, it could be changed that, should the property owner choose to do that.
Okay, anything else anybody got?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody know anything about the tall pile of dirt along M13?
Over in Wheeland's property? No, I don't.
I don't know whose property it
That's
is, but
Wheeland's
I
property, I
know
think.
that pile of dirt
It's
seems
been
to be.
stopped,
It's
for
growing.
testing.
It's what?
It's
So
growing.
apparently you,
I don't know what the scoop is, but it's growing.
Yeah.
Well, the
There's a
problem
lot
that
of
I've
activity
noticed
over there.
is there's all different colors of dirt that's went into that property, which kind of makes you take pause.
M13 where?
M13 by
Right in the
the
corner of Eddie Brothers.
junk yard.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But, so it is stopped. I just
It
wondered.
has stopped?
It hit, I can see it out
I-
my window,
There
it's
is-
not
This week than it was
stopped.
last week.
I haven't seen any activity up there.
Last Saturday,
Yeah.
they were dumping stuff in there. But most of the dumpings happen on the weekend now.
Yep. So, I mean, is there any, permit on that? Is there any site plan? I mean, there's holes being dug and filled in with whatever. I mean, there's constant activity over there.
And that front pile is, I noticed coming up the highway today, that pile is as tall as a telephone pole. And it's, I think the residents in that neighborhood that have asked me questions, and I say, you know what? I have no idea what that's all about. And I went to pull in, it says no trespassing on a pole, and another no trespassing,
And that
but
says
nowhere does it
surveillance.
have a digging permit.
Yep.
Or any other type, like across the road when Mr.
Where
Hugo was doing his work, he had a permit that was posted there for the dirt work that he was doing on his property.
Didn't you folks have Malin, or have that contractor do some ditch work, and wasn't that where the dirt was gonna go?
I think that something was said in jest about that. I don't know that there was ever a clear plan. I think it was
Awful lot
mostly
of-
in jest.
awful-
But that's more than
Oh,
you
I thought
got.
I thought he was cleaning ditches for the township.
At one point, there was an
Okay.
approval that was several months ago, and I think that Sam said in jest, well, I don't know, he's probably gonna turn around and resell it, but it wasn't,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't a serious statement of, to my
Okay.
But
knowledge.
there's a lot of material there.
There is, and considering what's happening over in Beaver Township with that, that whole disaster, I think that, we should have some idea of what's going on
As
right
far
on
as
our
I know,
main
they're not
drag.
digging a pond like Beaver Township.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, there's gotta be some kind of paperwork, there's gotta be something that's went through this office to indicate what's going on right along the
Nothing has
road.
gone through here to indicate, they're bringing the dirt in from someplace, they're not digging anything here.
Okay, so this is our township, and if they're bringing dirt in, then I think the people of the township, and certainly the residents that live in close proximity, deserve to know what is being brought in, where it's being brought in from. You have no idea where that dirt's coming from. You don't know if it's contaminated. You have absolutely no idea. And I don't think that that's really us doing our due diligence to put the people that pay the taxes here in a position where they could get ill or have other issues with their property. In addition to that, the AG just made a statement last week, made a decision weighing in about contamination of property, and that it is the property owner's responsibility, even if somebody else that previously owned it contaminated it. I don't think that's fair to put anybody in that position where we don't actually know what's going on, the people that live, you know, a stone's throw away. I don't think that's right. So we need to get some more
How is she
information.
superseding Cradle to Grave?
That was the opinion, it was, I think it was April 4th, she just put that opinion out, weighed in on it, it had to do with Eagle. And I think that one, I'm trying to remember what county that was out of, I just read that a few days ago. That opinion, are you familiar with the,
Not the recent one, because the opinion really hasn't changed in the last 50 years. It's been the same thing, because it's incumbent, similar to the water situation, it's incumbent on every new property owner to ask certain questions.
Right,
So if you're in the chain,
But they're also obligated to tell you too.
yeah.
But
there's disclosure?
In this situation, my question would be, what is the property zoned? And depending on the zoning, what are the setbacks, because if it's a residential property, then there might be different setback requirements and different rules than if it's industrial
Well,
or commercial.
actually, the environmentalist for the county is Laura Ogar.
Mhm.
So there's probably merit a phone call to Laura Ogar and ask her just what that is, since we're working with her on other projects. I just wonder, because I've seen these piles get humongous, I've seen the whole thing come all the way out in the drive, and then all of a sudden, that pad of dirt there now is 4 times what it was on January 1st. I don't know about you, but there's still people that drink well water in this district, and if you don't know what's happening,
Not to mention that it's still technically classified as wetlands, yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't see no fragmites,
Yeah.
but
the back piece of it.
it
Yeah.
is.
It's still wetlands there, so you're talking about any potential contamination, which we don't know. Any potential contamination there is going to go into the runoff, and it's gonna go right to the Coquitlam River, and it's gonna go right out to the bay, just like all the other contaminants that have developed over the years in farm fields, and with whatever other dumping is taking place. So if they're digging holes and putting stuff in it, we don't know what's being put in the hole. It's just now there's a hole, now the hole's covered over. We as a township should have some insight on what's actually happening there. If there's some kind of a site plan, I mean, even if they've just decided this is a creative way to make the driveway bigger, we should have some idea of exactly what they're doing.
I thought you were gonna tell me they built a building permit or something, because the size of the pad that's there, if they move that dirt all off the pad,
They haven't
you
got any
could build a
permits, I
commercial
don't know.
building on that lot, it'd be big enough.
Yeah.
Cause it'd be just behind the right of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
They'd
no,
be just
I
behind,
agree.
like the pines. They would actually be set back just like the pines is right now. And, you know, just a question.
Anything else?
I think we unearthed all kinds of follow-up questions tonight, didn't we?
I got something to do when I'm sitting in a car.
Hearing nothing else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support that. Thank you, everybody.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Never did enough.
Does anybody know what that